Nike ran into a lot of issues as a result of all they did with Caitlin Clark, and neglecting her was one of their worst choices in recent years. What is going on at Nike, and what does Caitlin Clark have to do with it? It's not that big of a deal for a skill that will last, right? That's what everyone else thought too. Since 2021, Nike has lost more than $100 billion. Many people wanted their CEO fired, which forced him to resign. Sports are also losing popularity. Nike was on the verge of creating a bag since they may have just inked the largest contract in 20 years, but nothing came of it. Even if Nike spent a lot of money to sign one of the few celebrities of this generation, there is some good news. Just consider Caitlin Clark. Michael Jordan in April of this year, Tiger Woods and LeBron James inked an 8-year contract worth up to $28 million with Caitlin. This is a good deal for Nike, especially since Caitlin will have her own shoe line. It is evident that Nike's official reasoning is flawed, as they have no intentions to produce a Caitlin Clark shoe despite her being unanimously chosen the WNBA Rookie of the Year. What are they trying to conceal? The plot takes a bizarre turn. Here's the money first. Nike spotted an opportunity to sell to an entire generation and is now leveraging that to promote outdated products. There was no such thing before Caitlin became a worker. Several shoe companies chased after her, and Under Armour chose her to be the face of the Curry brand. Caitlin had already signed a deal with Nike that did not bind her when she got into trouble in college. She was the most famous college player in the nation, 4 times more famous than the most famous male player, and twice as famous as Angel Ree, who came in second. Adidas and Nike also placed bids, but there has been no news about her signature shoe. She is stuck with Nike because they pushed her in college, but this update is so pointless. Then, A.A. Wilson, who just won another MVP award, took off her shoe and revealed to Caitlin a startling secret. The plan calls for Clark's shoes to be sold in stores between 2026 and 2027. What is Nike's justification for this? In addition to producing millions of pairs in planning and marketing, Clark and the rest of the Nike team must assist with the lengthy process. So why are they not discussing Caitlin at all? In any case, something is happening at Nike behind the scenes this year. Since I am aware that they have sacked employees and hired new ones, it appears like a lot of things are changing. I know they're saying that's partially to blame, but that seems like such a minor thing when you have Caitlin Clark as your star. I believe it has more to do with politics than anything else that Caitlin Clark isn't receiving the recognition, spots, ads, merchandise, and other things she should have received during her rookie season. However, even though he had his own special shoe his first year, Nike was quick and astute enough to realize 20 years ago that, hey, let's get LeBron's shoe out here. This guy's going to be a big deal. For some reason, they can't do this for Caitlin Clark, and lo and behold, there hasn't been a Nike ad for Clark as a pro, but it wasn't really pushed on people to take that into consideration. For 4 years, Caitlin Clark was the biggest star in sports, which increased TV ratings and didn't involve a Nike advertisement. If that's Nike's perspective, they're lying to get LeBron James to sign in 2003 because shoemakers were interested, and it was crucial to Reb Adidas and Nike that he create a signature shoe. When they signed him, Nike blasted his shoes before he even signed because they didn't want the story to leak, so they came up with a code called Air Zoom. Honorable LeBron wrote it backwards, so it was obvious why they went with the Air Zoom generation. Although LeBron didn't realize it, Nike started producing sneakers for him in high school with the intention of frightening him to no end, and they were successful. LeBron collaborated with Nike to create the LeBron ones, which he wore in his very first NBA game. I am aware that Nike has gotten so bad at producing shoes that what used to take 3 months now takes 3 years, but there is another factor at play here. Caitlin is breaking records while wearing Kobe shoes, but she hasn't worn a Nike yet, and they are making every effort to keep her out of the spotlight. Could this have been the original plan to sign her to one of the longest contracts ever, only to have Nike ignore her because they have someone else? In summary, Nike is utilizing its fortunate position as the generation's finest marketer to promote outdated goods. What's going on with this is the money. People who are aware of it claim that it has something to do with A.A. Wilson, the WNBA MVP, and a Nike star. However, it's not just Wilson. The company culture as a whole is more concerned with creating a stir than making it, in contrast to Nick, who was once well-known and connected. Writer Ethan Strauss stated on Substack that he has spoken to sources who claim that it is unquestionably linked to WNBA VA MVP and a Nike athlete. What would that be? Many people on social media were upset when Caitlin signed her $28 million contract with Nike. In fact, a prominent magazine's headline stated that Caitlin Clark was getting her own shoe, which is why people are upset. The story claims that posting about Caitlin's shoe deal has sparked controversy despite the fact that it's beneficial for women's basketball. What is the Some fans claimed that the only WNBA players wearing brand sneakers were white. Although it hasn't been made public, A.A. Wilson of Las Vegas had her own shoe before Clark, who hadn't even participated in a WNBA game yet. Many people claim that she set numerous records during her first season, earning her Rookie of the Year award, but we had never seen an athlete with so much speed before. If I were Caitlin Clark's manager, I would definitely be reconsidering the agreement I signed again because Nike, the largest athletic apparel company in the world, did nothing about it, and we didn't hear anything about it. I'm not sure what's going on behind the scenes, but why do you miss a chance like that? It doesn't make sense at all. Is A.I.A. Wilson the best player in the WNBA right now? Is Caitlin Clark the face of the NBA right now? If they were released at the same time, I think that's the case. This is bad news that I have to share with everyone, fair or not. The truth is that we saw how many jerseys were sold. Even though A.A. was named MVP for the third time, her shirt sales were roughly equal to those of Kate Martin's, who didn't play much in the second half. Do you think this scared Nike? Indeed, what they are doing to Caitlin is about fairness, variety, and including everyone. It is not about business or expanding the WNBA. Clark is insane. It's not smart business. It's not planning ahead. Caitlin isn't very good at basketball. It's just cruel and racist. Why would Nike prioritize doing the right thing over making money? Even worse, why would they change their minds when this blatantly demonstrates their racist intent? If they had simply moved on in the most profitable way to make money, things wouldn't have been so bad. However, they chose not to, citing feeble excuses like lower revenue and cuts, even though they still have plenty of time to work on AA projects. If their WNBA service is still operational, Wilson, why don't they just hang out with Caitlin? They know what will happen, which is why people will forget about AOD and Nike will have to pay a deal that doesn't generate any revenue for them in the NBA. This has happened in the past in a later section of his story. Ethan's comparison between Allen Iverson and Tim Duncan was excellent. Tim Duncan was unquestionably the better player, but Iverson sold a lot of shoes, so nobody complained that it wasn't fair when his shoes didn't sell. Nike tried them twice before removing them from the market, but Steve Kerr didn't care. It could be different for Caitlin Clark. Many people desire to appear in advertisements and on billboards, thus it would be typical for A.O. Wilson to appreciate being in Nike advertising if they weren't. Additionally, it generates revenue, but she also seems to endorse the notion that it is discriminatory. Read what she said to her friend Kelsey Plum while she watched Paige Bucker, a white athlete. Plum said thank you, but AJ's response demonstrates that Paige's wealth has allowed her to succeed and that she is also a fantastic basketball player. Of course, no, not really. If Asia is Nike's top female star, imagine the response Caitlin would have received if Nike had given her a sneaker immediately, even though her coach told her she was mistaken. The WNBA tweeted about the first practice match, where Caitlin was a key player, but the USA and Lynx. The coach stated that in addition to Caitlin Clark and other teams will be participating tonight. Some individuals were upset when an Olympic teacher used the hashtag that W stands for multiple players in the WNBA. An older woman is upset over a 22-year-old's preseason appearance, but it wasn't surprising that Caitlin wasn't selected for Team USA. Why wasn't she prepared for it? Oh no, it's not anger, it's a basketball decision. As a rookie, Caitlin topped all rookies in points, field goals, and assists, earning her a spot on the NBA's first team. She finished fourth for MVP in terms of assists and three-pointers, as well as steals and minutes played. Even though only 300,000 people watch the average WNBA game, over 1 million people watch her games on TV. It costs more to enter her first playoff game than any previous one. The Washington Mystics recently played Caitlin's team, the Indiana Fever, and there were so many fans that the game had to be moved to the Wizards Arena, setting a new WNBA attendance record. Despite all the hype, she is truly amazing in the end. Team USA acknowledged that it was a mistake to leave her off the list, and Nike will soon regret disregarding the NBA's top star as people begin to notice, which is hurting the company's reputation. Take a look at these words, and allow me to clarify one. Despite making a big deal out of Caitlin Clark, Nike hasn't written anything to congratulate her on her victory. Second, the Adidas representative made a lengthy post complimenting CC's work, which made me shake my head, even though the WNBA hasn't announced the roadie winner yet. I've paid Caitlin Clark tens of millions of dollars, but she still doesn't have a shoe. It's odd that I haven't seen any Nike advertisements featuring her since she became a professional and won Rookie of the Year. Without a doubt, the WNBA dislikes Caitlin Clark. Nike doesn't want to cause a stir, but if you're a heterosexual, white, Catholic lady who wants to play WNBA basketball competitively, you'll run into a lot of issues. Adidas is wise to honor Caitlin Clark's outstanding rookie season while her sponsor Nike remains silent, so as not to offend AA. What are your thoughts, Nike? Are you certain that it's obvious why the former CEO had to resign? If so, are you truly worried about what people will say on social media if you give Caitlin Clark her own shoe? Please share your thoughts in the space provided below for comments.